Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Thinking about ditching gas and going electric. But, can a Jeep really deliver that go-anywhere feeling without a roaring engine?
That's the question on a lot of minds these days.
It really is, and it's exactly why we're taking a deep dive into the all-new Jeep Avenger.
That's right, we've got a whole stack of Italian
Oh,
articles,
and even a YouTube review from Quattro.
all ready to break down whether this little electric Jeep lives up to the hype.
So what do you say? Should we jump right in?
Let's do it.
All right, first things first. This is a big deal for Jeeps,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, they're known for their rugged, gas-guzzling SUVs.
Right.
So to see them go all electric with the Avenger is a pretty bold move.
It really is. The sources we have make it pretty clear that Jeep isn't just trying to electrify an existing model. The Avenger was designed from the ground up to be an EV.
From the ground up. So they're trying to attract a new kind of customer then.
It seems like it. Maybe someone who lives in a city but still wants that Jeep feeling. That makes sense. And speaking of that Jeep feeling, the articles really highlight how the Avenger blends that classic Jeep look with a modern electric vibe. They even talk about these subtle blue accents that give it away as an EV.
It's like they're saying we're still Jeep, just plugged in. Pretty clever marketing, I think.
I agree. So let's pop the virtual hood and see what's powering this thing. We're looking at a 156 horsepower electric motor, front-wheel drive, and a 54 kilowatt-hour battery. The YouTube review boasts a city range of almost 400 kilometers. I think that's enough for most people's daily needs.
Well, it really depends on your driving habits. For most city commutes, 400 kilometers should be plenty, I would say. You could easily get through a week of errands and commutes without needing a charge. But if you're planning on taking longer trips, you might need to plan for some charging stops.
Makes sense. Speaking of longer trips, how does that range hold up on the highway? We all know EV range can take a hit at higher speeds.
Well, the YouTube reviewer actually took the Avenger on a highway test and managed to get 208 kilometers on a single charge.
208. So you could comfortably do a round trip from Rome to Florence.
Yes.
But a weekend trip to Naples might require a charging stop.
Right.
Okay, so that gives us a realistic idea of what to expect. Now, I'm curious about how this range stacks up against the competition. The Avenger is going up against some pretty popular electric SUVs, like the Peugeot 2008 Electric and the Opel Mokka.
From the data we have, the Avenger's range seems competitive. It's right in the ballpark of those rivals. But remember, range is just one piece of the puzzle. There's also charging time, overall performance, and of course, price.
Right. Let's talk about charging. Nobody wants to be stuck waiting around for hours for their car to juice up. How long does it take to charge this electric Jeep?
Both the articles and the YouTube review agree on this one. If you're using a DC fast charger, you can get the battery up to 80% in about 30 minutes. That's pretty speedy, especially if you're on a longer road trip and need a quick cob up.
That's not bad at all. And what about charging overnight at home?
For a full charge using a home wall box, it takes around 5 hours. So plug it in when you get home from work and it'll be fully charged and ready to go in the morning.
Okay, sounds pretty convenient. But I'm curious, how do those charging times compare to the Avenger's rivals? Is it faster, slower, or right on par?
From what we can tell, the Avenger's charging times are pretty much in line with the industry standards for this class of electric vehicles, so no major surprises there.
All right, that's good to know. Now let's move on to the fun stuff. The design. The Italian articles are raving about the Avenger's look. They're calling it a modern interpretation of classic Jeep DNA. But what stood out to you specifically?
What I found interesting is how they've reinterpreted that iconic 7-slot grille. It's still recognizable as a Jeep, but it has a more modern and refined look.
Yeah.
Probably to improve aerodynamics, I'd say.
I bet you're right about the aerodynamics. They've even integrated those blue accents we talked about earlier around the fog lights and badges.
Yeah.
It's a subtle way to showcase its electric nature without being too flashy.
Exactly. And did you notice the design of the alloy wheels? They actually resemble a compass.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really cool detail that speaks to Jeep's adventurous spirit.
I love that little touch. It shows that they've put a lot of thought into the design. Okay, so we've covered the exterior. Now I'm dying to know what the interior is like. The sources mentioned high-quality materials and a spacious cabin, but what else caught your eye?
Well, for starters, the YouTube reviewer raved about the infotainment system. They said it has the largest screen in its segment, a whopping 10.25 inches, and it's packed with features.
Wow, 10.25 inches. That's bigger than the screen on my laptop. I'm assuming it comes with all the bells and whistles like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
Absolutely. Plus, it has all those advanced driver assistance systems, or ADS, that are becoming so common these days.
Hmm.
Things like adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, and automatic emergency braking. It's interesting to note that these features are standard on the electric Avenger, but they're not even available as options on the gas-powered model.
Really? That's a pretty big difference. It seems like Jeep is making a statement about safety and technology with the electric Avenger.
It does seem that way, yeah. They're really pushing the envelope in those areas.
Okay, so it's got a big screen, tons of tech, and all the latest safety features. But what about the overall feel of the cabin? Is it comfortable?
Yeah,
Practical?
the reviewer was impressed with the cabin's spaciousness, especially for front passengers. They said there's plenty of headroom and legroom. They did note, however, that the rear legroom might be a bit tight for taller passengers, especially if the front seats are pushed back.
That's understandable. It is a compact SUV, after all. Did they mention anything about cargo space?
They did highlight a functional full-length compartment, which sounds like a clever way to maximize storage. They also pointed out a hidden compartment under the front passenger seat. I always appreciate those little design touches that add extra practicality.
Me too. It's those little details that can make a big difference in everyday life. So overall, it sounds like the Avenger's interior is well-designed and functional, with a focus on technology and comfort.
Definitely. Now, before we move on to the driving experience, there's one more thing I want to touch on. The reviewer pointed out that the Avenger shares its platform with the Peugeot E2008 and the Opel Mokka.
Ah, the automotive world of platform sharing. It's becoming increasingly common, and it makes sense. It allows manufacturers to streamline production and reduce costs.
Exactly. But what's fascinating is that even though these three cars share the same basic underpinnings, they each have their own distinct personalities and styling.
It's a testament to how car makers can differentiate their brand and appeal to different types of buyers, even when using a shared platform.
I agree. Now, are you ready to hear what it's actually like to drive the Avenger?
Absolutely. I'm particularly curious about the performance and handling. Does it feel like a true Jeep or more like a typical electric car?
Well, the YouTube reviewer had some interesting insights to share, and they even conducted some instrumented tests to get some hard data.
Ooh, I love when they get technical. Let's hear it.
Okay, so first things first. The reviewer was really impressed with how quickly the Avenger takes off. They said it feels a lot zippier than the gas-powered version, especially in city traffic.
I can imagine. Electric motors are known for their instant torque, right?
That's right. Instant torque means you get all that power right away, making it super responsive when you need to accelerate from a stoplight or merge into traffic. They even did a 0 to 100 km/h test and clocked it at 8.8 seconds.
Wow, that's pretty quick for a compact SUV. Not that I'm planning on any drag races, but it's good to know it has some pep in its step.
And remember, this isn't even the performance-focused version. I wonder if they'll release a sportier model down the line.
Now that you mention it, I'm curious to hear how the Avenger handles. Does it feel nimble and agile, or more like a bulky SUV?
The reviewer described the handling as safe and sincere, with good comfort. They specifically mentioned that the suspension does a good job of absorbing bumps and imperfections in the road.
That's good to hear. Smooth and comfortable is exactly what you want in a city car.
Exactly. They also highlighted the turning radius, mentioning how easy it is to maneuver in tight city streets.
That's a huge plus for city dwellers. I can't tell you how many times I've struggled to parallel park my SUV in a crowded street.
It sounds like the Avenger would be a dream to park. Now, before we move on to another important aspect of electric driving, did anything else stand out to you about the driving experience?
You know what? I am curious about regenerative braking.
Okay.
It's one of those things that's unique to EVs, and it can take some getting used to. Did the reviewer have anything to say about it?
They didn't go into specifics, but they did say that the Avenger feels very similar to Drive, compared to its gas-powered counterpart. This suggests to me that the regenerative braking is probably well integrated and not overly aggressive.
Okay, so it doesn't feel jarring or unnatural. That's good to know. I've driven some EVs where the regenerative braking is so strong, it feels like you're slamming on the brakes every time you lift off the accelerator.
Right. It sounds like Jeep has managed to strike a good balance with the Avenger's regenerative braking system.
Speaking of striking a balance, one of the biggest concerns for EV buyers is range anxiety. We already talked about the Avenger's range on paper, but I'm curious to know how it performs in the real world. Did the reviewer put that range to the test?
They did. And it sounds like they got pretty close to the claimed range while driving in the city.
That's good to hear. It means that those claimed numbers aren't just marketing hype.
However, As we've discussed earlier, the range did drop significantly when driving on the highway, down to around 208 kilometers. That's pretty typical for EVs, though, as higher speeds and constant airflow create more drag, which uses up more battery.
Yeah, that makes sense. But for someone who mainly drives in the city and only takes the occasional highway trip, the Avenger's range seems more than adequate.
Absolutely. It's all about finding the right EV for your specific needs and driving habits.
Now let's talk about another big factor, the price tag. The YouTube review mentioned a starting price of 34,600 euros. How does that compare to its competitors?
That puts it right in the mix with its rivals, like the Peugeot E2008 and the Opel Mokka. It seems like Jeep is aiming for that sweet spot in the market. Not the cheapest, but not a luxury price point either.
Okay, so it's competitively priced. But the real question is it a good value for the money? Considering all the features, technology, and that Jeep brand cachet, does the Avenger deliver?
To answer that, we need to delve deeper into what makes the Avenger unique. Let's take a closer look at the design details and how they've managed to capture that Jeep essence in an electric package.
That sounds like a great place to pick up in part two. Stay tuned, listeners, because we're about to get even deeper into the world of the Jeep Avenger.
When we talk about value, it's not just about the numbers. It's about the feeling a car gives you, the little details that make it stand out. And with the Avenger, Jeep has really leaned into their heritage, even in this electric model.
Absolutely. We talked about those subtle blue accents, but I'm curious about other design choices that give the Avenger that distinct Jeep personality.
Well, the reviewer raved about the front-end design, particularly how they've modernized that classic 7-slot grille. They described it as having a more articulated and contemporary look. Imagine a classic Jeep Wrangler grille, but it's been sculpted by the wind. It's still got that rugged look, but it's also sleek and aerodynamic, like it's ready to just slice through the air.
It's amazing how they've managed to blend those two aesthetics so seamlessly. And we can't forget about those compass-inspired alloy wheels. It's those little design flourishes that really make a difference.
Absolutely. It's like they're winking at you, saying, we might be electric, but we haven't forgotten our roots. And speaking of roots, let's move to the interior. The reviewer highlighted some design elements that are a nod to Jeep's off-road heritage.
Oh, I'm all ears. What did they point out?
Well, apparently the air vents are shaped like, get this, jerrycans. Those rugged containers you see strapped to the back of Jeeps on expeditions.
Those air vents shaped like jerrycans? I love it. It's those little details that add character and make you smile. But what about the practical side of things? Is the interior actually functional for everyday life?
The reviewer raved about the practicality. They mentioned an abundance of storage compartments, including a hidden one under the front passenger seat. They said Jeep has really maximized the use of space.
That's good news for anyone who carries a lot of stuff, which, let's face it, is most of us.
Right. And on the tech front, they were really impressed by that huge 10.25-inch infotainment screen we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
They said it's the largest in its segment and super easy to use. Apparently, it has crisp graphics, intuitive menus, and even physical shortcut buttons for those who prefer a more tactile experience.
It's always a good sign when a reviewer praises the user interface. It can make or break the whole driving experience. Okay, so we've covered the design, the tech. Now let's circle back to something you brought up earlier. Platform sharing. The Avenger shares its platform with the Peugeot E2008 and the Opel Mokka. How do you think this impacts the Avenger's value proposition?
Well, sharing a platform can help keep costs down, which is good for consumers. It also means they can leverage proven technology and engineering. But it's interesting to see how each brand has taken this shared foundation and created something unique.
It's like taking a basic cake recipe and then adding your own special ingredients and decorations to make it your own.
Exactly. The Peugeot, the Opel, and the Jeep all have their own distinct personalities, even though they share some DNA. The Avenger's design and features really cater to that adventurous, outdoorsy vibe that Jeep is known for.
So for someone who's drawn to the Jeep brand and what it represents, the Avenger offers something that its platform siblings just can't match.
Precisely. Now, I know we've touched on safety features, but I want to dive a little deeper into that because it seems to be a key differentiator for the electric Avenger. Remember, it comes standard with all those advanced driver assistance systems that aren't even available on the gas-powered model.
That's right. It seems like Jeep is really emphasizing safety with the electric Avenger. Do you think this is a trend we'll see across the entire Jeep lineup?
It's definitely possible. As the automotive industry moves toward electrification, we can expect to see a greater focus on safety and driver assistance technologies. And it seems like Jeep is ahead of the curve with the Avenger.
It's exciting to see how these innovations are shaping the future of driving. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground design, technology, safety, but let's not forget the most important question. How does the Avenger stack up against its rivals?
Well, based on everything we've discussed, it seems like a strong contender. It offers a compelling blend of style, practicality, technology, and that undeniable Jeep heritage. It's competitively priced, and its range and charging capabilities are in line with industry standards.
But the real question is, does it deliver that Jeep feeling in an electric package?
To answer that, let's shift gears and talk about the driving experience. The YouTube reviewer had some really interesting things to say about how the Avenger performs on the road, particularly in comparison to its gas-powered sibling.
Okay, let's hear it. Does it drive like a true Jeep?
Well, buckle up, because we're about to find out.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the driving experience. We know the reviewer was impressed by the Avenger's acceleration, even calling it much faster than the gas-powered version. But how does that translate to real-world driving?
The reviewer raved about that instant torque you get from the electric motor.
Right.
It makes the Avenger feel super responsive,
Yeah,
especially in city traffic.
I bet.
Imagine zipping away from a stoplight or merging onto a busy highway with that immediate burst of power.
I bet it's a lot of fun to drive. It's funny how we often associate Jeeps with that powerful rumble of a gas engine.
Right,
But maybe instant torque is the new definition of Jeep power.
right. It's a different kind of thrill, but a thrill nonetheless.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the Avenger doesn't just deliver in a straight line. The reviewer praised its handling, describing it as safe and sincere with good comfort.
So it's not just about speed, it's about feeling confident and in control behind the wheel. That's essential for any car, but especially a Jeep that might venture off the beaten path.
Exactly. And speaking of venturing off-road, one of the big questions we had was whether the Avenger could handle more than just city streets.
Right.
The YouTube review mentioned a 20-centimeter ground clearance and a traction control system with 6 different settings, including an eco mode and even a sport mode.
Okay, that sounds promising. 20 centimeters isn't bad for ground clearance. But is it enough to tackle some light off-roading? What do you think?
Well, it's important to remember that the Avenger is primarily designed as a city car.
Right.
It's not meant to be a hardcore off-roader like a Wrangler.
Right. So maybe more gravel road than rock crawling.
Exactly. But those 6 traction control settings do add some versatility.
Yeah,
They allow you to adjust to different terrains and weather conditions.
that's a good point. It might not be conquering the Rubicon Trail, but it sounds like it could handle a snowy driveway or a dirt road to a campsite.
Definitely. And for those who are concerned about range, especially on those weekend adventures,
Yeah.
remember, the Avenger can be charged up to 80% in about 30 minutes using a DC fast charger.
Okay.
So a quick coffee break could give you enough juice to get where you need to go.
Okay, that definitely eases the range anxiety a bit. So we've talked about performance, handling, even a bit of off-road capability.
Yeah.
But let's get down to brass tacks. Is the Avenger worth the price?
Well, we know it starts at 34,600 euros, which is competitive within its segment.
Right.
But value is about more than just the sticker price.
Right.
It's about what you get for your money.
Absolutely.
And in the case of the Avenger, you're getting a lot.
Yeah, true.
You're getting that classic Jeep style, but with a modern electric twist.
Yeah.
You're getting a spacious and practical interior,
Uh-huh.
packed with technology and safety features.
Yeah.
And you're getting a driving experience that's both fun and efficient.
Makes sense.
Plus, you get the peace of mind that comes with buying from a well-established brand like Jeep, known for its reliability and resale value.
So taking all of that into account, do you think the Avenger offers good value for the money?
I think it does. It's a well-rounded package that appeals to a wide range of buyers, especially those who want to embrace electric driving without sacrificing the spirit of adventure that Jeep embodies.
I agree. It's exciting to see how Jeep is evolving with the times and bringing their iconic brand into the electric era.
It makes you wonder, what's next for Jeep? What other electrifying adventures do they have in store for us?
Right.
Maybe an all-electric Wrangler,
Ooh.
or a futuristic off-roader that can handle any terrain imaginable.
The possibilities are endless. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. We've only scratched the surface of what the future holds for electric Jeeps. But what about you, listener? What would you like to see from Jeep in the electric era?
Would you prioritize performance and range?
Uh-huh.
Or maybe off-road capabilities and sustainability?
We'd love to hear your thoughts. This deep dive has been all about exploring the Jeep Avenger, but it's also about sparking a conversation about the future of electric vehicles and what they mean for a brand like Jeep.
And as always, we encourage you to continue your own research and exploration. Check out those Italian articles, watch that YouTube review, and form your own opinions about the Jeep Avenger and the future of electric driving.
Thank you for joining us on this electrifying journey. Until next time, stay curious and keep those wheels turning.